All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Soul Days Live. Yes, we are on. All right, 3 2 1. Let me try that one more time. All right, welcome to Soul Days Live. You never know what goes on live broadcast. Welcome to Soul Days Live, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Sean Garvey at Sean Garvey ATL. We do this each and every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are out there on the West Coast or on Central Time, we are on 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Flow Television Network and on reach1network.tv. You can check us out there. You can also follow me at Sean Garvey ATL. That is my Instagram, ladies and gentlemen, at Sean Garvey ATL on Twitter and on Instagram, Facebook at Sean Garvey, as you can see right there at the bottom there. Soul Days Live, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sean Garvey, and I am here with my special guest co-host. He is back on once again. Trey Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Soul Days Live. How are you doing this evening?
I'm groovy, Sean. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming on tonight's show, episode 3. Okay, so a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. Couple of things. Number one, we had a. I'm trying to set up my camera here, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, anything can happen on live. Okay,
Mhm.
so ladies and gentlemen, if you are not aware, we are based in Atlanta, Georgia, and right now we are experiencing ongoing severe weather in Atlanta. So my home studio is based in the outskirts of Atlanta, GA. I'm not going to give you my full address, but it's in the outskirts of Atlanta. And
Mhm.
due to severe weather, it knocked out the power in my area. So I'm not at my home studio where Soul Dates Live is usually recorded on Sunday night. So I have to do it in a remote location. So I am outside of my home studio because I want to make sure that I not only am on here to be with you guys on Sunday night, but I want to make sure that I am in an environment where there's light, there's electricity, and that there is an atmosphere where I can give you guys quality programming. So I am in another studio outside of my home studio, and everything is working properly thus far. But yes, folks, we are experiencing some severe weather in certain areas of Georgia. And it's not just only in my area where the home studio is located in, but it's in several areas of Georgia. So that's number one. Number two, I know a lot of you all are expecting a matchmaking game show tonight. Well, tonight is not one of those nights, ladies and gentlemen. So,
Mhm.
due to the outage that occurred earlier in my area, um, we are going to postpone the matchmaking part of the game show because what is a game show without the matchmaking, right? So we're going to postpone that until next Sunday night, same time, same bat station, reach1network.tv and on the Flow Television Network. So if you came here to see who we are going to match with tonight, we want you to stay tuned because we're going to have some great conversations tonight for just a little amount of time that we have together. But the matchmaking part of the game show will be postponed until Sunday night. Okay, so uh, tune in next Sunday night, but tune in now and watch both me and Trey Amazing talk all things considered dating and relationships since the show is about dating. Okay, so
Mhm.
tune in next Sunday night at 9 p.m. for the matchmaking part of the show. Speaking of tuning in, watch us on the Flow on the new web app at theflow.lightcast.com. Yes, folks, it is official. We are on TV, by the way, TV, television. So you can watch us on the app. You can watch us on your flat screen TV and on your Roku device and download that app so you can check us out. on the
Mhm.
Flow Television Network. And here are some additional information on how you can download the Flow app. You can download the Flow apps on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, iOS, Android for all of my iPhone and Android users out there, Apple Video and Audio Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple AirPlay, Chromecast, and more. I know that's a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen, but if you have any of those services, you can watch Soul Days Live on any of those services right now and watch us live on your TV and mobile devices. The Flow, just go ahead and download the app there. All right. And we are also on SeanGarveyOnline.com. Soul Days Live on SeanGarveyOnline.com. That is my website. So for some reason, if you are not able to watch Soul Days Live on your Roku or on ReachOneNetwork.tv, you can catch me there on SeanGarveyOnline.com. Actually, we still have episode 2 up on SeanGarveyOnline.com. But tune in right now so you can catch this new episode of Soul Days Live. All right. So, Troy, back over to
Yo,
you,
yo.
man.
Mhm.
I'm going to need some water. I'm going to need some water after the day I had, man. How's your day going thus far?
A little dry. Very, very dry. But of course, everyone knows the sarcasm. We had a bit of storm today, and our power went out temporarily, so we experienced some of that outage a little earlier. But yeah, just we had one heck of a storm today. Here in the ATL. But the show must go on. One monkey or one monkey thunderstorm don't stop the show. And champions improvise. So we're moving forward nonetheless. But outside of that, my Sunday was groovy. Got a lot of work done. Took some time to meditate, took some time to relax,
Mm-hmm.
but also stay on top of my business, stay on top of my grind. And
Okay.
yeah, getting myself ready for a productive week. And yeah, I'm ready to get to it.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Soul Days Live, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Flow Network and also on Reach One Network TV and right here on Facebook at Sean Garvey. So
Hmm.
tonight we're going to talk about episode 1 and episode 2. This is our third week of doing
Hmm.
Soul Dates Live without the matchmaking part of the show, which I know a lot of people have been looking forward to. But that is, I repeat, that is next Sunday rather, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we get into episode 1, episode 2, of course, the big news this past week was that I was on a local TV show in Atlanta. And I got a lot of emails, a lot of calls, a lot of DMs, a lot of text messages from people in my circle, family members, friends, and everybody that I know in the radio industry, in the radio and television industry, saying how much they are proud of me and that they watched the episode. They thought that it
Hmm.
was very entertaining and thought provoking at the same time. And it just speaks to us, Trey, about the times that we're living in regarding dating and stuff like that. And because I didn't have enough time, TIME.
Hmm.
I didn't have enough time to really say everything that I wanted to say on this particular show in Atlanta this past week, last Tuesday. I thought, well, we have the platform. We have the platform to revisit the conversation that I had on that particular show and talk about it and, get some comments from people watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on the Flow Television Network and Reach One Network TV. So yes, let's talk about that particular episode and get into episode 1 and 2 of Soul Dates Live, so we can do a recap from the past 2 episodes, just to keep people up to speed on the last
Hmm.
2 episodes of Soul Dates Live, in case we have some new viewers tuning in for the very first time. So on the episode of this particular show that aired here in Atlanta, GA, last week, we touched on as much as we could about our dating lives and our perspective on dating in a modern day world. And I know
Hmm.
towards the end, Trey, I asked the question, why do we make dating to why I know how I framed the question. Why do we make dating complicated than what it is? And retort, my answer to that question was because we tend to overanalyze things going into the dating scene. And I suggested that we as people, and I don't want to just limit it to just one group of people or one particular gender, but I think we all have to listen to each other, listen to
Hmm.
understand and not listen to respond, right? So what is your take on that question I asked towards the end of the program?
In terms of why dating is unnecessarily complicated, because it can be complicated. It's as complicated as we make it. I've always been of the opinion and impression that dating does not have to be complicated whatsoever, but it becomes complicated because, let's be honest, men and women, we're not always as transparent with our intentions and our wants as we should be. And, I've asked the question, a lot of times, for men and women who may not necessarily feel they may be ready for a monogamous relationship or a commitment, but they still enter into these relationships. They enter relationships and dating, relationships with people who are expecting, a certain thing. And then in actuality, we may not always be ready to be completely honest and say, look, I may not be 100% on board with this, or, maybe this isn't something I really want to do. But, we put on our mask, we put forth our best representative, and, we go forth in dating and we want to make ourselves as desirable, as pleasing, as coveted as possible. And sometimes that doesn't always come with 100% honesty, but at the end of the day, it is a fear and concern for some people. If I'm 100% honest, will I be chosen? Will I be still deemed attractive? Will this person still want to date me, even if I'm putting it all out on the line? This is what I want. Case in point, I've said several times, I've said to men and women, if you honestly don't think being with one person is your cup of tea, what is the issue, or what is stopping you from telling people, hey, when you meet people, hey, I'm interested in you, I'm attracted to you, I want to date you, but I don't want to just date you alone. I want to date you and I want to date other people.
Mm.
Now, for a lot of us, I think, we go out in the dating field, we kind of have in the back of our mind, like, if we say that, we may get shot down, or we may not get the response we're looking for from the people that we actually want to be with, want to date.
Mm.
So, you're going to have people like that who are going to put on airs and come across like, yes, monogamy is what I want, commitment is what I want, something serious is what I want, something mature is what I want. Is that always the case with people? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And for the people, no, it becomes complicated when you hide and suppress what you actually want, what you actually deem desirable, but you don't, because you don't want to miss out on an opportunity to be with someone. And instances like that, I use that as an example of why and how dating can be complicated, because fact of the matter is, how often do any of us, myself included, do we just put everything out on the line when we meet someone, when we're sitting across from the dinner table on the first date? Hey, I like you, I'm attracted to you, but I may not just want to sleep with you. I may want to sleep with other people, but still be with you, still spend quality time with you. That is what makes dating just unnecessary BS. And so I think that is just my theory and my diagnosis. I think, lack of transparency, of course, the big one, lack of communication, and, lack of authenticity. This is what makes dating just, makes you want to beat your head against the wall or something like that. So, things like that. I think you start with being authentic, communicate, and be transparent. I think you'll find that dating can become less complicated. You may not always get what you want from the exact people you want, but when it's all said and done, you're putting your exact desires and your motivations out there, and you're allowing people to make a choice whether or not they still want to deal with you, or just be friends, or cut off all communication together.
Mm. Mm. You said a lot right there. So Trey, when it comes down to it, just to interpret what you stated, it comes down to lack of transparency and not being honest with yourself, nor not being honest with your partner, with the person that you're dating. Okay. Oh, and probably my apologies, Trey. I meant to come in introducing you as the dating commentator, by the way. So
It's all good.
you had a whole lot to say, and that's why they call you the dating commentator, Trey. Amazing. So lack of transparency, lack of being honest. Also, in the group chat there on our Facebook page at Sean Garvey on Facebook. Shout out to Key, by the way. What up, Key? Thank you
What
so
up,
much
Key?
for the congratulations there on all the big things that I'm doing right now, including this show, Soul Dates Live. Once again, on the Flow, you can download the Flow from the web app and go to theflow.lightcast.com. And you can also download the Flow app to watch us live on your television screen and on your mobile device. So go ahead and do that right now. And that below the screen there is different outlets that you can download the Flow from. You can download it from your Roku TV, from your Fire TV, Apple TV, and so much more. So go ahead and download the app right now, the Flow Television Network. So lack of transparency and lack of honesty is what's happening um, in the dating scene. But what happens though, Trey Mason, just to go back to the question and to your response, what happens when a person is too honest, too much transparency to tell someone either on the first date, second date, or the third date?
Well, we all know that. I mean, you hear the age-old adage, truth hurts. And, sometimes we don't want to be completely blunt in terms of what we want because we know, okay, if I'm this blunt, if I'm this, cutthroat in terms of how I feel and exactly what I want, we know how it's going to affect the other person. We know that, the shock and the, just taking someone off guard by saying, look, hey, I like you, but I got this going on, or I got this going on, or not sure how I really feel about, marriage, or, for some people, I'm not sure how I really feel about my own sexuality, or, these are just a number of things. And so people, don't always um, verbally express who they are and what they want. And of course, this makes dating just even more complicated. It makes it just a daunting task just to go out and see if you can meet someone and find companionship. And, I understand that, you're going to have people who may not feel comfortable admitting what they are, who they are, and what they like, because, they don't want to turn people off, particularly if they meet people they really like. They don't want to turn people off. They don't want to be judged, and they don't want to be castigated. So what people do, again, they create these great representatives, and I'm saying they, but I've been in that situation too. I certainly speak from what I know. So I've certainly been in a situation where we put on the perfect face, the perfect mask for our representative because we want the representative no different than a job interview. I mean, I'm a liken to a job interview because at the end of the day, how many of us have gone on a job interview and been completely honest and say, look, I'm going to show up late sometimes. There are going to be some days where I'm not going to give 100%. There are going to be some days where I'm not a team player and I don't want to fool with people. That may be the case, but would it be wise to say that during a job interview when you actually need a job to pay your bills? And so that lack of authenticity and that lack of transparency, it is something that affects a lot of people. A lot of us have been on the receiving end of it. A lot of us have been the ones executing it. And so it's going to, regardless of who you are, it's going to make an impact, most of the time a negative impact on the quality of your dating.
Mm. All right, special guest co-host Trey Amazing on Soul Days Live with Sean Garvey, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Beat Break Radio and comment in the chat section of our
Mm.
channel and watch us live. There's so many platforms to choose from and to go to listen to this great conversation that me and Trey Amazing are having regarding dating and relationships in the modern day era. And also, shout outs to Chantel checking in the combo at the bottom there. She says, "Good conversation." Of course. I mean, what group of men are you going to hear this type of conversation from, ladies? Let's just be honest. You're not going to hear it in the barbershop. You're not. You definitely not going to hear in the barbershop. Trey, what do
Don't
you
talk.
think?
You know what? Don't. Side note: don't talk to me about barbershop. I'm bald. The last time I was in a barbershop was 2012, and back in 2012, a normal haircut was between $15 and $20. I recently heard people are paying up to $50+ for a haircut. I say, you know what? I'm gonna just. It's cheaper to be bald these days. I can't imagine
It is
going to a
really,
barber.
really.
You know what I mean? Like, save your money, fellas. Again, I'm old enough. I can remember paying only $10 for a haircut. So
Mhm.
the idea of folks paying, one gentleman was like, he pays $80 for his, all he has is a bald fade. I'm like, no. But I think this is good barbershop conversation. I do want to add, just to supplement what I was saying.
Sure, go ahead.
Over the years, I've had to really explain to people. I get judged and mischaracterized a lot because of the company I keep. I've had to explain to people that number one, I'm not a swinger. Number two, I'm not into polyamory. I have close relationships with friends of mine who are swingers, who are into polyamory, and who are non-vanilla in their relationships. But one of the things I do is I champion those relationships on a big and major level, because to come across people who are involved in swinging polyamory relationships, which are deemed unconventional, particularly unconventional down here in the Bible Belt, I commend those couples because they can come forth and say, I met a great person, I met a great guy, or I met a great woman. You know, we get along great. They're everything I've been looking for. However, they understood me when I said, I still want to date other people. I still want to sleep with other people. And
Mhm.
what happens in many of these relationships, one person comes forth and becomes transparent. Other person says, okay, let's go with it. I guess we're swingers now, or I guess we're into polyamory now. Some of the healthiest relationships I know, and I'm thinking about a few couples that are coming to mind right now, extremely happy, extremely healthy, love on one another, been together for years, but they have sex with other people. They date other people. And the fact is, they're the first to tell you, you have to be honest. If you can't be honest with the person you're with, then why are you with them? If you are with someone you care about, and you have desires that you still want to be with other people, why not come forth and share that information and just be honest about your desires? I'm using that as an example, as an example of something that I witnessed in my life. But I also have to explain to people again, the people who've come to me in my inbox and other messages know I'm not a swinger. Swinging is not for me. But at the end of the day, I certainly don't judge people who are into that lifestyle, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge anybody for being honest about who they are, what they like, and they end up connecting and aligning themselves with people who want the same thing.
Okay, so explain to our listeners a little bit more about the polyamorous lifestyle, just in case they are unfamiliar with that particular lifestyle. And my question to you is, can anybody try out the polyamorous thing one time to see if it's something for them or not? So
Okay.
let's break all that down, since you want to dive into that part of the conversation tonight before we do our recap on episode 1 and 2 of Soul Days Live. Is we know that polyamorous, the poly lifestyle, is not for everyone. It's
It's not
not
for everybody.
it's not for
It wouldn't
everybody.
be. It wouldn't be for me.
Right. I know some people who are in that lifestyle. I know some people very well. Um, but break all that down for us. What exactly is that lifestyle? And can any couple try it one time just to see if it's for them or if it's not for them?
Okay. Well, I had to pull the exact definition up on the internet because I didn't want to give the viewers the wrong definition. But basically, and I'm going to read this: polyamory refers to the practice of having romantic relationships with multiple people with the informed consent of all partners involved. It is a form of ethical non-monogamy that is becoming increasingly common. And so, with the networks that I've been in, and people I've met, one of the things that I've been informed of is that Black polyamory, polyamory practiced by African Americans, has been a growing community here down south. And it is something that, a lot of people are unaware of. It actually is just with some of the observations and things that people have explained to me, like Black people in polyamory, that is a growing tribe, particularly down here, in the Deep South, in the Bible Belt. And I always reference that in the Bible Belt because um, polyamory, swinging, things like that is still deemed unconventional, or a better way of saying, or a more fun way of saying, it's non-vanilla. And so you're going to have a lot of people, and another reason why I wanted to qualify with African American, even though anybody, irrespective of your race or ethnicity, can be polyamorous, but I always point to African American polyamory because here in the Black community, or when you're at the cookout, there are certain activities that we deem as, excuse my French, white people shit. you know Black people, we're the most sexually conservative race out there, bar none. And so to hear, when you hear people, in your own community say, when you talk about certain um dating behaviors, dating practices, or even sexual practices, we're very quick to say, that's white people shit. That's something white people do. Black people don't do that. And polyamory has been one of those things that have been deemed by a lot of people as white people shit, and don't realize you have a lot of Black people. You have a growing, and I promise you, it is a growing tribe of Black people who are involved in polyamory. But polyamory can really be practiced by anybody. But two central components of polyamory that people should always remember, never forget. There are two things that make polyamory successful. Number one is honesty. Number two is consent. Those are two things that, without those two things, it's not going to work. It's just more so going to be more negative and deleterious impact than positive. But it doesn't matter who you are, your gender, your race, whatever. If polyamory is something you feel, will benefit you, or you feel it's more in alignment with, your value systems and your beliefs, then, there's nothing stopping you from trying. The biggest thing, I would say to anyone is find someone who is either already in that lifestyle, or if you're dating someone, ask them, hey, what do you think? What are your thoughts about polyamory? Have you ever given any thoughts of, being polyamorous, and, talking about the benefits, because there are benefits to polyamory. And so, again, you have to have complete honesty and consent. These two are big, major components, of successful polyamory relationships.
Okay. Let's look at the comment section here. Shout out to everybody that is joining us on Soul Dates Live. Is anybody in the comment section interested in a poly relationship? Please be honest. Please be transparent. Don't be fake on here. Don't give us no fake news and talk about, I would be open to a poly relationship, but then when I talk to you in real life, you'd be like, oh no, I was just joking. No, be honest. Are you open to being in a polyamorous relationship? Comment below in the chat room, in the chat box, and let us know if you're interested, or you can let us know if you ever been in a poly relationship, and if so, what was that experience like? Tell us live right here on Soul Days Live.
No judgment. No judgment from us.
No, this is absolutely a no judgment zone type of content show. No judgment here. No judgment here. I know that plenty of people that thought about it, but it's like, nah, it ain't for me. God bless them, but nah, it ain't for me. For those who are just tuning in, me and Trey Amazing, the dating commentator, we are pretty much shooting the breeze tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the third episode of Soul Dates Live, only because of two things. One, because we experienced an outage here in Georgia where my electricity inside my home studio went out. So there's a blackout going on at my home studio. I am on remote because I want to make sure that I am on live with you guys each and every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And if you love the show on your television, donate, make a love contribution, as the church would say. Make a love contribution to Soul Days Live. Cash out $Reach Communications to show your support for the show. That's $Reach One Communications, the number one, by the way. So it's $Reach, the number one Communications to show your support for the show. And for all of my Patreon people out there, you can also donate via patreon.com/Reach One Communications to show your support as well. All right. So the question remains, are you open to the poly lifestyle, to the poly relationship lifestyle? I'm seeing more and more poly relationships in today's society than ever before, because there are people who, and I talk to very candidly, that say that, well, I'm not going to find everything all in one person, so I'd rather just keep my options open and engage in relations with multiple people and not just only one, because we all know at the end of the day, there is not a perfect person out there. There's not.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, comment in the comment section below, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Episode 1 and 2 of Soul Days Live. We're on episode 3. Tonight, there is no matchmaking going on, even though I know everybody's been looking forward to it over the past few days. But we will go back to our regularly scheduled programming next Sunday night at 9 p.m. Because we will have a new dater on next week's show. But before then, until then, let's recap episode 1, episode 2. Trey Amazing, did you have a chance to watch both episode 1 and 2 of Soul Days Live?
I got a chance to watch the last one. The last one was the rock and roll version, right?
Yeah, it was the rock and roll version with Crystal from Texas.
From
Shout out to
Dallas.
Crystal. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I mean, it's well, first and foremost, the more that I post a flyer and post information about Soul Days Live, people have commented and inboxed me, and they talked about how they love the concept. I received a handful of people saying, they think it's a good idea. I actually going to send some information your way. I've had a few people who are interested in being on the show, said they want to sign up to be a dater.
Trey is our casting director, by the way. He's like our co-casting director.
I'm recruit, casting, jack of all trades. I do it all. But even with rock and roll, I'm a big rock and roll fan. I love the idea that connecting with people, because many of us, I don't know too many people that don't just like music. I mean, who doesn't like music? I think anybody who doesn't like music, you got to be pretty dead inside. So connecting with other music lovers who share interest in the same genre, rock and roll, I'm a big Queen fan. Anybody who is around me or close friends with me knows, I'm a huge Queen fan. I love Freddie Mercury. I've been a fan of Queen for a very long time. So, for me, if I'm on a date with someone who can recite the lyrics of Bohemian Rhapsody or Somebody to Love or We Are the Champions, oh, that's an instant connection right there. The rest is downhill,
Right.
At that point.
Yeah.
And so, you have people who, that makes that, in a sense, dating can already be nerve-wracking and anxiety filled, but you can break down those walls when you're both, nodding your head to the same beat, or you're both, reciting the same lyrics or whatever. And then you realize, what, it's not as nerve-wracking. This is a conduit for, making connection with someone. And in many instances, I mean, we've seen it happen in our own personal lives. So, what I saw was great conversation. I don't recall who was chosen at the end, but it was a beautiful cast of daters, and they seemed like they were all engaged in the conversation. So, I thought it was a dope event. It was a dope episode.
Yeah, episode 2 with Crystal on it, the rock and roll edition. Something we did a switcheroo from the R&B edition of Soul Days Live, which happened to be our first episode, and then to the second episode of the rock and roll. What I really love about Crystal is her energy. She was very energetic. She was very exciting. And she even had a chance to ask some of her own questions to the date, to all three gentlemen. And all three gentlemen, by the way, from different areas of America came on, and I felt that all three of them were great. I felt all three of them were great. Steven, out of the three, he was struggling a bit, though. You know, he was struggling a bit, but to give him some grace, it gave him an opportunity to learn more about the 80s and 90s of rock, even more than ever before. Because he listens to rock and roll. You know, he listens to rock and roll and a little bit of heavy metal here and there. Um, but you can tell that he was trying his best to give
Mhm.
uh, the answer to all of the questions, but he experienced a bit of a struggle there.
Yeah, her, I will, I definitely agree. I agree with you, 1000%. The fact that she came with, that kind of bubbly personality, that she seemed very extroverted, outgoing.
Mhm.
I think that carried everything in a marvelous way.
Yeah, yeah,
She was not a stick in the mud. You didn't have to, pull questions out of her.
yeah,
She seemed like, from, the footage I saw, she seems like the type of person where, even though this was online, she seems like the type of person that where if you were sitting across from her, at a dinner table, you wouldn't have to carry the conversation all on your own. She came across as someone who, is an equal participant, wants to engage, and it's not like, I think a lot of us, including myself, a lot of us know what it's like to be on a date and getting the person to talk is like pulling teeth,
yeah,
and that's not
yeah,
a
yeah,
it's not a great
yeah.
experience. I've been there, and it makes, when you're sitting across from someone, it's like, okay, trying to, think hard and vigorously on something to say to start a conversation or continue a conversation is like, you know what, it makes you want to end the date early. But I think she did a great job. um I'm also into 80s rock, 80s, and some 90s rock.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think they brought a lot of good out of each other. And even for the gentleman, Steve, it may not have been his thing,
Mhm.
maybe even though, it wasn't in person, it doesn't mean that a person still won't experience dating anxiety. You can experience dating anxiety, even over Zoom. And
Oh yeah,
so,
I've had my cases of dating anxiety via Zoom. Yep.
no, it can happen to the best of us, and this may not have been his calling. The stars weren't aligned for him, and but that's okay. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again.
Yeah.
So, which for you, Steve, it's all good.
But
You
you
can
know
try
what?
again.
You know what's so crazy though? Because towards the end of the dating game show from last week, even though Steven had his troubles with answering most of the questions in the first and second round, he still became a fan favorite. So we tally up the votes from the people. We call this particular segment viewer's choice towards the end, where we allow the people to
Hmm.
come on and vote on who they think should go on a date with Crystal, right? And
Hmm.
from the number of votes that I saw in the chat room, Steven won most of the votes than the other two competitors, and that was so mind blowing to me. And Steven, he came off very laid back. He was himself. He wasn't trying to be anybody that he wasn't. He was very laid back, but he was courageous enough to still answer the questions that Crystal asked him. But he became a fan favorite that night.
It seemed, you're going to have, I guess one of the impressions is, it's hard to toe the line between overt confidence and being pretentious.
Hmm.
Um, because, I mean, when it doesn't matter who you are, man or woman, if someone spots, pretentiousness, that could be a turnoff. It could be a real turnoff.
Yeah.
And so, that's one thing you can say about Steve. You can say a lot of things, but he wasn't pretentious. Um, he didn't have the same approach or the same answers as the other two gentlemen.
Hmm.
But but just based on numbers, and we all know, numbers don't lie. He still walked away being a fan favorite.
Yeah.
He still walked away with, a cheering section. He walked away with people who were rooting for him, who were, in his corner. And so there is a lot to be said about that. I don't know if you want to call it, that innocence or that, he didn't, it was devoid of any bravado.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, for some people, that still may be part of their charm. And, it could have been something that, to our surprise, it may work out for Steve. It may, Steve may walk away the victor, you know, here or anywhere else in life as it pertains to, finding love or finding that special someone. Steve
Right.
may, he may have caught lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
So, I'd love to hear some updates on Mr.
Yeah,
Steven.
we're gonna try to work him back into the show, welcome him back to the show in a different form. But
Mhm.
the other two gentlemen, I want to talk about the other two gentlemen in just a few moments. Soul Days Live edition with our special guest co-host Trey Amazing of Ringside LLC. At the bottom there is information on the Podcast FM app. Have you, yes, I'm talking to you, have you downloaded the Podcast FM app to your mobile device? Well, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do it right now. The Podcast FM app available in the app marketplace, so you can hear me, yours truly, Sean Garvey, everywhere on the go, and over 50 independent radio stations and even podcast networks across the country. So go ahead and download the Podcast FM app available in the app marketplace. Now, while I have all my ladies watching us and even some of my single fellas out there, if you or someone you know wants to be on the show and wants to get matched up with that particular or that potential soul date, make sure you email me. Go ahead and write this down: souldateslive@gmail.com. Souldateslive@gmail.com. And we will send you some info on how to come on the show. All you got to do is just send us a bio of who you are, a headshot, a professional headshot of you, and we will send you 10 questions. 10 questions, not 21 questions like 50 Cent said in
Like,
his song, but 10 questions, very direct and straight to the point, and we will see if you are eligible to appear on the next episode of Soul Dates Live. You got to be 21 and up to participate. All right,
yes,
soul
you have
dates
to be
live at
legal.
gmail.com. Yes, yes, Trey.
You have to be legal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you got to be legal. You cannot still be in high school and want to be on the show. No, nope, 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 nope. You got to be of age to be on the
21 and up.
21 and up. Yes, got to be 21 and up. So yes, episode 2, and then we will rewind to episode 1 in a few moments. But episode 2, Crystal, of course, did pick her soul date towards the end of the show. We also had Josh and Bjorn. And I gotta apologize once again to my audience. I messed up his name in the beginning. I thought it was Bjorn because of how it is spelled, right? But it's actually Bjorn, not Bjorn, but Bjorn. But every time I think of his name Bjorn, I think of DiGiorno for some reason. The DiGiorno DiGiorno pizza. You know what I'm talking about? But Bjorn, yes. So
Mhm.
Bjorn and Josh were among the 3 gentlemen next to Steve competing for the love of Crystal. Bjorn and Josh, they were neck and neck. They were neck and neck. It was very suspenseful in the first 2 rounds of the dating game show between Josh and Bjorn.
Oh, they came to play. Can't be mad
Yeah.
at that. Um, the competition. I mean, that competitive energy. Can't be mad at that.
Mhm.
Um, and so, in instances like that where you're competing for the attention and interest of a young lady, after a while, gentleman to gentleman, you just have to look at it like, hey, may the best man win at that
Yeah.
point. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
that's, when I did get a chance to see, I was like, okay, that's what I saw. Um, and they were matching each other's energy.
Yeah.
They were doing it.
It
You
was a
know,
contact sport. Yeah.
yeah, poor Steve was kind of on the outskirts, just like, okay. But hey, it bees that way sometimes because again, it is a matchmaking show, and there's a subcutaneous element, that involves competition.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
if you are willing, if you want to be with, this person, you guys are vibing, then you need to make sure you are the best choice. You need to make sure you are their best choice.
Yeah.
And, that involves, hey, going head up, with other competitors who may be, just as strong, if not stronger than you. So they did it.
Hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a contact sport. It wouldn't be called a dating game show if none of the guys didn't bring their competitiveness to the show.
Hmm.
So it was definitely competitive, but it was a friendly competition because if you go back and you watch episode 2, you see that all three guys, Josh, Bjorn, and Steven, they all got along very well. They got, it wasn't no trash talking amongst the other three and all that. It was just great, clean fun.
Hmm.
And I could tell that everybody involved had a great time. But spoiler alert, sorry if you did not watch the full episode last week. Of course, Crystal did pick her soul date, and it was Josh. So Josh won the date, and I was just happy to see them connected, because I felt their energy, I felt their vibe towards each other. I was like, oh, this might go pretty well.
Hmm.
Yeah, were you surprised when you watched the episode? Were you surprised that she picked Josh over Bjorn and Steven?
Surprise. I wouldn't go so far as say surprise. Um, there was an element where I felt like, okay, he may be the better competitor. And, his responses and, the way he was able to duck, dodge, and parry, what Bjorn, was throwing. I mean, yeah, I have no doubt that Crystal picked up on it. Crystal was watching, Crystal was observing. And in the end, you know, the victor won. To the victor goes the spoils.
Mhm.
And so, he did it. He came with it. He brought, that was a necessary um, bravado that you would expect from a competitor.
Right,
And again, especially a competitor, we're men, competing for the attention of a woman. Then, a woman wants to see, okay, who really wants me? Because I have no doubt in a situation like that, Crystal was, probably turned on and excited and felt flattered by these three men who are vying for her interest, and these men who have no problem, like, look, we gotta face off with one another, and the victor gets the woman. What woman wouldn't be flattered by that?
right,
You have three attractive gentlemen. They're putting their best foot forward. They're bringing their A game, all to get your attention, all because they want you. They know only one of them can have you, and they're all committed to being the best version, for you to pick. So in the end, Josh was, he came out on top.
Josh, the winner of last episode, Soul Dates Live. So if you haven't had a chance to see it, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the spoiler alert, but you can
Mhm.
go back and watch it on demand right
Still
now.
entertaining to watch, nonetheless. Even if
Yeah.
even if it's still worth the watch.
Right. It is worth a watch. You can go back and watch it by clicking below or actually going to the site, rather,
Mhm.
SeanGarveyOnline.com. If you want to watch the second episode of Soul Dates Live. We had a great, amazing show. Shout outs to Crystal and shout outs to all of the three daters that had an opportunity to compete against each other for the love of Crystal. So we have that on demand right now by going to SeanGarveyOnline.com. You can even go to ReachOneNetwork.tv and watch that particular episode on demand as well. Just go to ReachOneNetwork.tv, and you can also go to here, the Flow, and download the new web app at theflow.lightcast.com and watch it on demand. It's on demand right now, so go check it out at any one of those platforms there. All right, so now on to episode 1. which I like to call my first baby, episode 1. We had Claudia from the ATL, where I'm from, ATL representative, and she was up against three daters. I'm trying
Mm.
to remember their name, because wait, it was, I know one of them were Brandon, right? Brandon was dater number, I want to say dater number 1. Brandon was dater number 1, and dater number 2 was Dick Socked.
What was the
I'm
name?
saying, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, because I said his name correctly on the first episode. Dick Shant. I think it's Dick Shant. I want to say Dick Shant.
Okay.
Dick Shant. Data number 2, and then data number 3 was the bad boy himself, Kyle. Yes, Kyle. Data number 3 from episode 1 of Soul Dates Live. Claudia, I really love Claudia. Listen, shout outs to y'all ladies out there, the single ladies coming on the show. Shout outs to you all, because y'all bring the fire, y'all bring the energy. Like, for real, for real. But Claudia, she brought so much vibrant to the show, to that episode. I really like her energy. I really like her openness. And it was the R&B edition of the show. So we did the R&B from the 2000s, and a lot of the guys that came on there really did a great job. So
Mm.
let's talk a little bit about that. Spoiler alert. There we go. Of course, the person that Claudia ended up choosing was Josh. I mean, sorry, not Josh. I'm thinking of episode 2.
I'm like,
It was
John getting
Kyle.
around.
Yeah, Kyle. It was Kyle that
Kyle.
she picked. It was
So
Kyle that
she picked the bad boy.
she picked the bad. Like, ladies, what is up with the bad boys? Why do y'all still love the bad boys in 2023? What y'all still go for the bad boys, man? But no,
Yeah.
Kyle's a nice guy. He's a nice guy in real life, but he does have that bad boy aura, if you know what I mean.
So he has that, because there are some guys who are legitimate, okay, real bad boys, like really, cut from a different cloth, and that cloth is usually, prison issued. And then you have some guys who are, just more so rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Still could be, I guess, labeled as a bad boy, but just, may not fit that nice guy image. And so because of that, it could be seen as a departure and arrival as a, I'm a bad boy. Why? Because I'm not the good guy. But, bad boys are still prevailing out here. They're still winning, regardless of the stereotypes and the testimonies from women, still winning. And, regardless of his level, of bad boyism, or, where he is in that spectrum, he walked away with Claudia.
Mm.
And so something he was doing, whatever it was, it worked. It worked for him. It worked to his advantage, and he came out on top.
Mm.
So shout out to Kyle. Shout out, did your thing, and whatever it was, however you want to define it, it worked for him.
Mm. What's the difference between a bad boy and an asshole? Is it the same, or is it different?
I've often referred to myself as I'm an asshole with a heart of gold. But I've never referred to myself as a bad boy. I think the distinction could be, what the intentionality. If you're an asshole, I think, some people could be an asshole subconsciously, and that's just part of who they are. And for others, it's a deliberate, it's a deliberate expression of that side of their personality, in terms of being, overly or hyper abrasive, being blunt, and not really, being tactful when it comes to other people's, feelings and emotions. And so I think all that could be, kind of, I guess, boxed in as far as with an asshole. I think a bad boy, it may be someone who's just, not good as far as respecting authority, not following the rules, wanting to, for some people, a bad boy is someone who, they march by the beat of their own drum, not interested in following the crowd. So it can be, you're going to have, different definitions. depending on who you ask. For some people, a bad boy is that's tantamount to being a criminal, being a thug, being someone who breaks the law. Well, if that's your definition of a bad boy, it's still alignment. It still, applies. But, as far as an asshole, anybody, man or woman, could be an asshole depending on your level of insensitivity and bluntness.
Hmm. Well, Kyle is definitely not an asshole. He definitely is not an asshole. I got to know him during the pre-screening portion of the show, and he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy, man. So hopefully we will bring back Claudia and or Kyle to give us a
Mhm.
follow-up on what's been going on with them between the two of them. So
Right. I mean, something like this, you make a match on a show like this, you match with someone over music.
over music,
Well, that's part of the icebreaker. When you actually get to the point where you're speaking over the phone or via Zoom, you already know you got that one thing in common, and you
yep,
can build off that. We both have the same appreciation for R&B or rock and roll or bluegrass or alternative. That's a great foundation to start on. And
right,
from there, that can lead to, other avenues to find a connection, other avenues where we can build, some synergy.
right.
And, at that point, I think that could lead to a great first date. But, again, it sets a great foundation. And that's the reason why, you have people who continue to commend you and commend the show because it's a good idea. It's a novel idea because again, I don't know if I could be with someone who, as much as I play Tupac and Nas and Biggie and Queen and Nina Simone and Prince in my car, I don't know if I could be with someone who cringed or who hated that music. I'm like, that wouldn't bode well for us. If I'm playing, Purple Rain and, you all of a sudden look like you got gas face, then yeah, I don't know how far this is going to go.
Hmm. Right, right. Yeah, certain things can be deal breakers, and I know
Oh, absolutely.
to some women, having the whole bad boy persona doesn't win a certain women's hearts or sweep them off their feet. But each his own, each
To
his
each
own.
their own.
And at the end of the day. And then the other two guys, Brandon. I like Brandon. He's a bit low key. He's a bit low key and what have you. I like Brandon. Um, I noticed that Dick Shot, he was too struggling with answering most of the questions too. Uh,
Hmm.
but he gave it his all. He gave it
Gave
his
the
all.
college try. That's all you
Yeah,
can ask.
yeah, absolutely. So I got a big announcement. Got a big
Okay.
announcement right here on Soul Dates Live. Before I get into that big announcement, make sure you all follow me at Sean Garvey ATL on Twitter and on Instagram. I am live LIVE on YouTube, on Facebook at Sean Garvey, and all the other platforms that you can check out Soul Dates Live because we don't want to just limit our content to just one platform. We want to be able to be available on several different platforms for you to choose from, including 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. Ladies and gentlemen, I do the Beat Break Morning Show and the mental space there, including on WAOK 1380 AM. Coming in July, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of big announcements, speaking of big announcements, you will hear more of me, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you are tired of me, you're going to hear more of me during the weekdays, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. all the way up to 10 p.m. at night. Yes, Eastern Standard Time. So Monday through Friday, of course, with the help of my news reporter and my news director there, Michelle Dosbert, you're going to hear Sean Garvey online starting in July. It's going to be on I want to say the 3rd of July, since we're getting ready to head into the 4th of July weekend. Premiering July 3rd is Sean Garvey online. Yes.
Congrats, man.
Thank
Congrats.
you. Thank you. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., you're going to hear all of the shows that are curated by yours truly, Sean Garvey, during the daytime, in the morning time, afternoon, and in the evening, all the way up to 10 p.m., in which we switch over to 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM, the new home for the 502 R&B show that comes on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So during the daytime, of course, on 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM, you get to hear the Beat Break Morning Show. You get to hear the Mental Space. You get to hear what else? What else? What else? You get to hear BB Mobile Apps podcast, and of course Michelle Burt with the Beat Break Morning News and so much more. Okay, and then on the weekends, of course, it's 101 The Vibe FM, and on Sundays, all day Sunday, you get to hear my homegirl Dice Gamble, Good Sunday Morning Vibes, not just only from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., but on Sundays, all day Sunday, just in case you are at church and you're not able to hear Good Sunday Morning Vibes with Dice Gamble from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. All right. More details are underway, but in the meantime, check us out live, 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM, on TuneIn and Alexa Beat Break 87 FM. Man, I told you, man, we doing some big things around here, Trey.
Oh yeah.
We doing
It's we constantly hear about black girl magic, but I'm like, yo, we got to get a shout out to black man magic. You know what I'm saying? We dripping with it.
And he ain't talking about Magic Johnson, by the way.
No, big shout out to Irvin, but we talk about black advancement. We're talking about just, doing big things. We know we're not complacent. We're not
Absolutely.
stagnant. We're not staying in one place. We're moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So, we stay upgrading, we stay, evolving. So big shout out to you, architect.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Let's keep the shout outs going. Okay. So let's talk about episode four coming up of Soul Dates Live. So we just got through talking about episode 2. We're going to follow up with Crystal and Josh very soon, as well as Claudia and Kyle from episode 1 of Soul Dates Live. Both great episodes, great, amazing people. Big shout out to them. All right, so let's talk about episode 4 because we got to switch it up. We did 2 episodes with 2 women. Now it's the guys' turn. And I want to know from everybody that's watching right now via Facebook, the Flow Television Network, ReachOneNetwork.tv. I want to know from everybody in the comments section, and make sure y'all get the likes up on our YouTube channel at Beat Break Radio. Who do you think should be the next main dater for Soul Dates Live next week's show? Who do you think? Who do you think? Who do you think should be the next main dater for Soul Dates Live next week, next Sunday night? Give me a notable name. Give me somebody that you have in mind in the comments section. Let's say you, Trey. Who do you think should be the next main dater?
A lot of people that can come to mind. You get in media, you get on social media and the news, you see public figures and celebrities that struggle with finding the one and dating. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Let's throw some names out there who are single right now, currently single. Do you think Tia Mowry? Do you think Tia Mowry should be next? Well, I know I said we need to get a male on, but maybe for the next few episodes, future episodes. What about Tia Mowry? Do you think she's ready to get back out there? And if so, would she be a good main dater for a future episode of Soul Dates Live?
As someone like myself, I'm a divorcee. I mean, she may still be dealing with some of the baggage of coming with the divorce. And I know for me, I certainly made that mistake, jumping back into dating fresh out of divorce. And I saw how, it impacted, the woman I was dating and the quality of our relationship. So she, she may or may not. As far as a guy, you could look at someone like, even though he's also divorcee, it's been a few years, you can look at someone like Devon Franklin.
That was going to be my second answer. What about Devon Franklin?
I followed some of his interviews. Seems like a stand-up guy. I really, I feel that people should, regardless if it's a breakup or a divorce, people should just normalize saying, "Hey, we grew apart or we didn't get along." We should normalize, not getting into the habit of vilifying, the other person, or trying to, make it, play the blame game. And he's done a good job, of that. He's talked about, the emotional struggles he's had to deal with, going through a divorce. But, I still think he could be someone who, may be a good candidate, to be
Okay.
to be matched. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So Devon Franklin, a possibility. If Devon Franklin, if you watching us, you have an open invitation to appear on Soul Dates Live as a potential soul dater, main
Hmm.
soul dater. Okay. Because me and Trey, we are very professional and good at recruiting people, especially women, to appear on the show. And
Absolutely.
obviously, Megan Good has moved on, obviously.
Oh yeah, she's
So,
moved on.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We obviously, by the way, I still haven't seen Creed 3 yet, but I got to watch it.
I've seen it. I've already seen it. I've
I'm
seen it.
sorry.
I
I'm
saw
sorry.
it twice at the theater. I bought it.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie. Absolutely.
It's
So,
it's a great movie.
from what I heard, it's a great
Absolutely.
movie. Yep. Absolutely. What else? Who else experienced a breakup recently and wants to come on the show? Who else?
Well,
Said some.
if we're looking at celebrities, um, and you brought up Creed, Michael B. Jordan, isn't he single or something like that? Or I know he had a very public breakup with Lori Harvey,
Mhm.
which I'm gonna keep my opinions about that family to myself right now.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm
for ringside.
right, yeah, yeah. People in ringside know how I feel about that, so I'm glad he made his exodus. But
Mhm.
maybe something like that. He's still running off the high of the success of Creed 3. He's already in talks of Creed 4. So he may be a good one. He may be someone who may be interested in finding his love, the love of his life, or you know so you never know. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of eligible singles out there, and one of the things I've realized, people are going to have different opinions in terms of being going to a matchmaker or being matchmade. Some people have faith in the process, other people don't.
Mhm.
Um, it is something I feel like I would express this to anybody, even if you have doubts and concerns. My attitude towards someone who may be on the fence as far as, matchmaking is, what do you got to lose? Why not try it out? Why not, have some fun with and explore your options and
Mhm.
explore different avenues to meet someone. Some people, if you're that committed to where you can only meet someone out in the street, out in public, directly, if that's your thing, if that's your calling, I'm not going to judge your journey. But for the people out there who are serious and want to have a multi-layer approach to finding the one, why not open yourself up to being matched?
Right. Well, I am here to say, Trey Amazing, that I am willing to put myself out there for the
Going out
next
there, man.
episode, of Soul Dates Live. I'm willing to put
I
myself,
applaud that. I applaud that
and
decision.
I don't have
Uh,
my applause.
you got these.
You got
You know what I mean? So I think I would say go for it, bruh. Because at the end of the day, like I just asked, what do you have to lose? From the episodes so far, we know that
well. I'm not.
it's
I
a
know I'm
fun.
not to answer that question. Not to interrupt. To answer that question, I know I ain't gonna lose, but one of them
Oh, I heard that.
will.
I mean, I feel like, why not? If anything, so many of us, if you put enough men and women together in a room, we all can share, dating horror stories. We can all share, stories of hell dates. I know I can. I definitely, I remember being single and out there dating and, being on dating apps and, so on and so forth. Sometimes you have good experiences, sometimes you have traumatic experiences, sometimes you have dating calamity. I have stories that have that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. Why not avail yourself to something like this that can be fun, entertaining, but also a byproduct? You may get matched with someone, and so I feel like, why the hell not? Go for it, people. You only live once. Don't let an opportunity like this pass you by.
Yep. Yep. And just a reminder there, souldateslive at gmail.com. If you are interested and if you are eligible, souldateslive at gmail.com. So I think next week, Trey, I think next week it should be me. It should be me. I think I should, put myself out there, have a host on my
Hmm.
behalf to host the show, and I'll be the male dater, the male main dater, and put me up against three eligible people, women, and see who will match my music compatibility on the show.
You don't mind me
So
asking, who
ladies,
are some of your favorite music artists?
are we breaking it down in groups, artists, or in general? Because that's going to be kind of hard.
Well, in terms of, like, let's say R&B, if
Okay.
okay, give you a scenario, because I've asked a scenario in my group. You're with a date, you're trying to set the mood.
Mm-hmm.
What artists, any artists out there, R&B,
Mm-hmm.
that's your go-to, like, okay, if I want to set the mood, be romantic, or whatever the case may be, who are you putting, what CD are you grabbing? I know people don't
Oh,
play CDs anymore, but what song are you playing?
okay. So yeah. So we're talking about mood, like something intimate or what have you. I definitely got to put on some Isley Brothers. I got to put on some Isley Brothers. Let's see. I got to put on some D'Angelo, of course. Can't go wrong with D'Angelo. Shout out to Dwelle. Got to put on some Dwelle.
Okay.
Sade. Definitely got to
Oh,
put on some Sade. Yep. I got to mention the women now. I got to mention the women when it comes to my favorite artists and songs to get me to get us, not just me, but to get us in the mood. Sade, definitely, definitely. Just to name a few. It's
mm-hmm.
a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, we're gonna go from old school to new school, of course.
Right.
Yeah, Isley Brothers. Oh, gotta say my uncle Charlie, Charlie Wilson.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
Charlie Wilson.
trip. No, I feel, that I think that's a good list. I have my go-tos. My go-tos would be, Maxwell, or if it's not Maxwell, then my number one go-to, my number one R&B group, male group, always and forever, is going to be Jodeci. Straight up Jodeci. You know what I mean? Like, if I
For my
if
lady.
if I'm if I'm really trying to pull out the big guns, yeah, I'm grabbing a Jodeci CD. But, Jodeci, Boys and Men. Um, and if I really want to, show her that if I'm showing my age, I may bust out some Troop. You know what I mean? So it all depends. It all depends on, what I have in my arsenal at the
Right.
time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, sounds good. Sounds good. So, ladies watching, if you think you have a chance to go on a date with Sean Garvey, email is at the bottom there. Souldateslive at gmail.com. Souldateslive at gmail.com. And we're going to go through the process, make sure that um, we pre-screen you, or the people on my behalf, my team will pre-screen you and see if you are a good fit for the next episode of Soul Days Live. We got a couple of people. I'm just going to let you all know right now. We have a couple of people that are ready to get on the show. So
Hmm.
please send your inquiries right now. Serious inquiries only, folks. Okay. Nothing fake. Please send them right now.
Yeah,
Um,
please don't catfish the show.
yes, no catfish. Absolutely no catfish. No, no, no. Go do that somewhere else. Go do that on the other. dating shows, but not here, not here. So yeah, that's another big announcement there. I am going to put myself out there for the next episode.
Yo,
But yeah,
I'm in your corner. I'm in your corner, man. Um, One thing I will say to those interested in being on the show, again, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be entertaining and a good time. Byproduct being you may be matched with someone.
just know the
Uh,
music.
yeah. So
Just know
what?
your music. Just know your music.
Just know your music. You know what I'm saying? If you're a music lover, then, this is definitely a show for you. One of the things I will encourage and recommend, come with a positive attitude, come open-minded.
Hmm.
Um, I'm someone, again, we constantly mention the word energy. So even though this is online, it's not exactly person to person, but it's online, your energy can still be felt.
Right,
So, if you're participating in this, number one, we thank you. But we also ask, bring great energy, bring positivity, bring optimism, and come ready to just, have a good time.
right. Yep, yep. Come correct. Yeah,
Come
come
correct.
correct or don't come at all.
So,
Right,
I mean, that's, again, that's something that, it's, I feel like that should be the alpha and omega of a lot of this is like, just come with, a good open personality and, in the end, it'll bode well for you.
right.
Because like I said, even if you don't meet or make a great match, you may make, a new friend or a network or, whatever the case may be. But again, you are connecting through music. You love music. They love music. Something's bound to happen, something positive, and,
Right.
you know, a budding romance could come about this.
So um me and Trey, well Trey actually, and to the viewers and people at home, y'all got some homework. So you know a couple of people that might be interested in qualifying for Soul Days Live, Mr. Trey Amazing. I know you sent me a few people your way and I appreciate that. But do you know a few more that you have in mind? Because you be doing your thing on Ringside LLC and getting all the single people to get engaged and become engaged in all things
Mhm.
content.
Actually, yeah, just 30 minutes before we went on air,
Mhm.
one of my friends hit me up. She saw the flyer and she sent me a DM saying, hey, I want to participate. She wanted to, well, first she was confirming that the show does air every Sunday at
Mhm.
9 p.m. And I
Nice.
was like, yes, every
Yeah,
Sunday.
I promote that.
And I was confirming with her, like, yes, it's going down every Sunday. She's a young lady that I've actually interviewed. I'll talk with you, offline, but she's a young lady that I've interviewed for my channel, for my YouTube channel, and very bubbly, very, she's a definitely a spark plug, and and that's a compliment.
Right.
But she is someone who, just, I promise you, just 30 minutes before we aired tonight, she came forward and said she wanted to participate. So I'll talk to you offline as far as who she is, but
Okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
the DMs and the emails are coming in. People want to participate, and like I said, you don't have to go anywhere. But also remember, even though this is online, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to, get in your car and spend any gas, whatever.
Mhm.
Still look nice. Still comb your hair.
Do do not
Brush.
come on. Do not come on with that Jiffy Pop hat on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what time it is. Do
It
not.
says
Do not.
no judgment, but we don't want to see any bonnets. We don't want
No
to see any hair
bonnets.
rollers. No, no. This is a no judgment zone, but it's also no bonnet zone. Um, we don't do bonnet. Again, outside of the show, do your thing. But
Right.
we don't condone that behavior on the show. But again, online, make sure you brush your teeth. I'm the
Yes.
type of person, I've done this before. Even online, I'll still put on cologne.
Mm.
I know it sounds weird, but I'm like, it helps me, in the past when I've done it. So just make sure you put your best foot forward. You
Yeah.
know, again, it's a good opportunity, and the point is to have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely fun. Once again, no bonnets allowed.
No bonnets, no bonnets, no do rags, no, yeah.
Right. Right. and don't have no kids in the background jumping around and stuff. For all my ladies out there, all my single mothers out there, we do not want to see no visual of your kids jumping around on the bed, crying and all that. No, 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 no. I've seen shows like that, Trey. I've seen shows like that.
You know,
You
if
know,
if if it goes down, number one, control
it's
your kids.
it's
You
it's live.
know,
It's live television. It's live television.
it's live television. You know, if you got all that going on, you just may get talked about. Um,
Yeah, we might make you
so
a highlight. We might make you a reel. We might make you a reel. You never know. You never know.
yeah, you don't,
Uh,
you know, something like that, because the show is live, and you know, once it's on the internet, it's forever. So
yes.
you know, whoever, whatever rugrats you got in the background, make sure, keep them somewhere separated, put them in front of a PlayStation, or, give them a coloring book. I don't know if kids still color, not sure, but give them something. Give them a cell phone, give them a smartphone. That should occupy them for a few hours.
Right. Right. So yes, ladies, I am going to put myself out there for the next episode of Soul Dates Live. That's going to be next week, next Sunday.
Hmm.
Give you a little bit of background about me before we get up out of here because we're running a little bit out of time. I am 39, going on 40. I know I don't look like it, but I am 39. That's what my birth certificate says. I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia. I am 40 something percent Nigerian. So I do have African roots, even though I know people, I talk a certain way, but yes, I do have African roots. By the way, I'm mixed with Nigerian, West African, Sierra Leone, and a few other things as well. I'm also Irish, which a lot of people did not know that I am partially Irish as
All
well.
right,
Partially
Black
Irish.
Irish.
Yeah, I'm black, a bit Irish and a bit Jewish. I'm only 2% Jewish, so yeah. What else? What else? My favorite food is vegetarian pizza. By the way,
Mm.
vegetarian. Yep. That's a fun
Are
thing.
you a vegetarian?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. No, no. I
Okay.
don't think I will ever be a vegetarian. No.
Okay.
Um, let's see what else. As far as music goes, because of course, this is a music-based show. I love old school R&B, throwback R&B, old school hip hop. I love other different genres of music, not just only R&B and hip hop, but I also love jazz.
Uh-huh.
I love me some John Coltrane and the Weather Report and Miles Davis, of course. I can switch over from jazz to pop. I'm definitely into pop like Madonna or even In Sync, or even Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, to name a few. Or I can switch over to rock. Of course, we did our heavy metal rock episode last
Hmm.
week. I love Aerosmith. I love Maroon 5. I love Elton John, of course. Let's see who else. R&B and hip hop. I love me my Sugar Hill Gang. I love me my Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, of course. I
Really
love
quickly,
me. Yeah,
really quickly, hey, I want to interrupt you really quickly.
yeah,
Since we're talking about hip hop, just want to shout out to the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
absolutely.
Um,
Yes,
50,
absolutely.
50 great years of hip hop. So, for all y'all that don't know, I mean, 50 years is a very long time. Hip hop has been thriving. Hip hop is, that is our culture.
Mhm.
And, again, just want to put that out there. Big up to hip hop for making it to that 50. And, we feel like it's going to be around for 50 more years.
Absolutely. Yep, yep. And we actually gonna be dropping some great stuff in August because that is the month that hip hop was born. In August is the premiere of the Beat Break Morning Show. Of course, the season premiere, I should say, season premiere of the Beat Break Morning Show on 87 FM, 101, the Vibe FM, as we commemorate or help commemorate 50 years of hip hop. But new season of the Beat Break Morning Show will be in August, either the day
On my
of,
birthday.
day after the birth date of hip hop in August. And of course, I got a new spoken word project that I'm going to be dropping on that day as well in August, on that Friday, August 11th. So yeah, man, I'm excited about August and excited about this year as we continue to celebrate 50 years of hip hop. But yes, once again, ladies, before we running out of time, make sure you email a brother, Sean Garvey, souldateslive@gmail.com. Go ahead and email me right now, so I can send it over to my team and they can start the pre-screening process for a chance for you to get on and be a potential dater for Soul Dates Live. And then also, I know this may be premature, but I want to let people know that we do have another new soul dater that will be coming on in a couple of weeks. Her name is uh, Kia. Did I say it right? Kaya, Kia. It's Kia. I think it's Kia, Kaya. No. I'm sorry. My mistake. Kaya. Kaya.
Right,
Yeah,
Kaya.
Kaya. She's going to be coming on after me in a couple of weeks. Or in a few days, rather. We'll see. We'll see. Kaya's coming up as well. Yeah. So we got some new daters on deck for you all. Excited, very excited, very
New
excited.
blood.
Yep, indeed, indeed. So we're running out of time here on Soul Dates Live every Sunday night at 9 p.m. And you can check us out on any of the following platforms. You can check us out on the Flow. Just make sure you download the web app, theflow.lightcast.com, if you want to watch us online. And we're available on all devices and all platforms. You can get the Flow app on your Roku TV, Fire TV, Apple TV for all of my iPhone users out there, iOS, Android, Apple Video, and audio podcasts, and so much more, Google Podcasts. And you can check out episode 2 if you didn't check it out last week on SeanGarveyOnline.com. There you go. It's right there at the bottom there, SeanGarveyOnline.com, as well as ReachOneNetwork.tv. All right. Before we get up out of here, Trey, amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you
Despite
for having me.
that we had severe weather here in Georgia and we could not really give everybody what they've been wanting to see for the past few days, but we will definitely make it up to you next week. Any parting words, Trey, before we exit?
Everybody out there, please stay tuned. We are, this show is in the MC stages, but we promise that we're building and we're going to take this show to heights unseen before. So make sure you follow us, you subscribe, and just stay tuned. And, parting words that I usually tell people, in regards to, we were talking earlier about the complexities of dating. I'm going to always tell people, always finish with, always choose fidelity. Okay, always choose fidelity. Not trying to sound like an old person, whatever, but fidelity saves lives. Fidelity makes life and dating and marriage is so much easier. So, but yeah, just stay tuned. We have a lot of great content on the way, and yeah, ready to have some fun.
All right, and if you're gonna cheat, don't do it in the same state or in the same city or in the same proximity as the person you're seeing. No, I'm sorry. I'm just joking. That's just a little bit of comic relief, but I'm just saying, do go and cheat. They go out of state. Go out of state. Uh, I'm just joking. Don't cheat, y'all. Don't cheat.
Right? Don't cheat.
Or at least try
They'll
not.
they'll find out. Even out of state, people find out.
Oh
Social
yeah.
media makes it easy to find out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But yes, we will be back next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday night. Make sure you go on YouTube and subscribe at Beat Break Radio for all of my YouTube users out there. Sean Garvey, ATL on Twitter, Instagram, Sean Garvey on Facebook. I promise you guys, we will be back next Sunday night at 9 p.m. with some daters and me, yours truly, trying to find love out here. Okay, I'm trying to get up out of the game. I'm trying to get up out of the game. What did Scarface said, or was it the Scarface or the Godfather? I'm getting my Italian movies mixed
Just
up.
when I think I was out, they pull me right back
Put me
in.
back in, right? Shout out to Al Pacino.
Shout out to Al Pacino being a new father again
Yeah,
at 80 something, 82 years old or however
yeah.
old he
Both
is.
both him and Robert De Niro, which is far
Still,
from a coincidence.
still getting it in. I ain't mad at it.
Hey man, listen. When I turn in my late 70s or 80s, I'm not trying to bring in any more life into the world. Nah. I'm not. No, I don't have no kids. I don't have kids, but I want to one day, if I find the right person, ladies, if I find the right person and want to have children by, I gotta have children before I turn 70 something or 80.
Yeah.
I got to.
Yeah. I make that. I recommend, doing it.
Yeah,
Definitely. Don't,
yeah,
don't be De Niro. Don't be, Pacino.
right, right. I can't play baseball and I have arthritis. I just I can't throw a ball at my child and I have arthritis in my arms. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Gotta go, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Soul Days Live. Thank you to, of course, Trey Amazing for coming on. Thank you to all of my followers and people watching us on the Flow Television Network and on SeanGarveyOnline.com and on my Facebook and YouTube channel at Beat Break Radio. Until the next time, we are out of here. Stay safe and be careful for all my Georgians out there. If you are still experiencing severe weather in your area, please, please, please be careful out there. Until next Sunday night, or actually, I'll be back on StreamYard on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. The Mental Space is also on the Flow as well too. So we'll be back on this coming Wednesday night at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right. Till then, take care. Bye, everyone. Be safe.
Peace.